FOG Andrew here from the family of gamers. Welcome, Wargamers, to an exciting, awesome, unmatched video. Today, I will be unboxing and reviewing the Unmatched Hell's Kitchen box. This is the second Marvel, or technically third if you count Deadpool, Marvel box for Unmatched, and this is the second 3-player box for Unmatched, the first being Redemption Row, which if you haven't seen that review, go check that out. We did that on the channel a little while ago. I've been pretty hyped for this box, maybe even more hyped than Redemption Row, because Daredevil, Bullseye, and Elektra being in this box is pretty nuts, and I know Coach is very hyped for this one because Daredevil's in the box. So we're going to be taking a look at what's in the box and taking a look at everything. But before I do, if this is your first time here, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel for more Unmatched videos coming out in the future. We got battle reports, reviews, and unboxings, so check all that stuff out. And also check out the other stuff we have here on the channel as well. But without further ado, let's take a look. Alright, so here is the box. What is a little thing to note: the box is actually smaller or thinner than, let's say, Cobble and Fog here. All the boxes are like Cobble and Fog except for Hell's Kitchen and Redemption Row, so I just find that a little interesting that it's slightly thinner than the other boxes. But with that being said, let us open this up. As you can see, we have the Hell's Kitchen rules here. Gives you the special rules for this set for Elektra, Daredevil, Bullseye, and the battlefield items. Free-for-all rules and team play rules. A little reference on the back. Now, here is the Hell's Kitchen board. Looks very nice. The other side has the artwork more shown, where the zones are actually on the outer rings of the board instead of filling in the circles. Now, there are battlefield items. I'll go over that in a second. But we have Daredevil, Bullseye, and Elektra. I've raved about the Unmatched storage system before. I love how everything is organized. You have everything for Daredevil up here, everything for Bullseye in the middle, and everything for Elektra at the bottom. Love the inserts for all of the Unmatched sets. It's great. So here is the board, and I thought we should talk about the battlefield items. So we have a mailbox, manhole cover, payphone, first aid kit, fire hydrant, and a map. So basically how the items work are, there's 3 versatile items. So if you move into this space and let's say Bullseye here attacks Daredevil, you can say, okay, I will use this item for my attack or defense. For example, fire hydrant gives you +2, the manhole cover gives you +2, and the mailbox gives you +1. And this is the same as the Redemption Row box, but instead, this box has 2 +2s, while the Redemption Row box only had 1 +2. So that's a little interesting thing. Now, there are 3 schemes as well. So if you go into the space with a scheme token as an action, you can use it. For example, the first aid kit lets you recover 2 health and draw a card. The payphone lets you choose 1 card in your discard pile and return it to your hand. And the map is your next attack this turn can target any space, which is ridiculous. These items are insane, especially these schemes. I think that's a little crazy. But, yeah, that's the items. I like the items personally on the board. They make a different kind of play aspect. Check out the battle report we did with the items from Redemption Row. It makes for an interesting experience when playing Unmatched. So there is a lot to go over with these characters. And we're going to start off with Daredevil. As you can see, his model is pretty nice. He has 17 health, has a move of 3, and his ability is, during combat, if you have 2 or fewer cards in your hand, you may blind boost your attack or defense. If you have other during combat effects, you choose the order, which is interesting. Now, I figured we can go over Daredevil's cards in his deck because he only has 22 cards in his deck. Everybody else in the game has 30, and besides Elektra. Elektra has less cards as well. But he's got Man Without Fear. You can blind boost this attack, in addition to the blind boost from your ability. Son of a Boxer. If you lost the combat, deal 2 damage to an adjacent fighter, adjacent to Daredevil. 3 of these in the deck, which is a 3-value defense. Devil of Hell's Kitchen, a 4-value attack. But if you have no cards in your deck, the value of this card is 8, which is insane. And then shuffle this card and the top 4 cards of your discard pile into your deck. So that prevents exhaustion, essentially. And you will definitely get these cards into your deck. Or you'll at least get these cards eventually during the game, because to pull this off, you really want to keep it until the end when you have no cards in your deck, so you can shuffle those back into the deck. So you basically have an infinite deck if you keep doing that card without... toward the end of the deck, essentially. He's got his grappling hook. You get to move him up to 2 spaces. Take a knee, discard the top card of your deck, recover health equal to its boost value, so there's some nice healing in his deck. He can take a breather, which is a scheme card. Choose an attack, defense, or versatile card from your discard pile and return it to your hand. That's pretty nice. Through adversity, move Daredevil up to 4 spaces. He may move through opposing fighters and deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter Daredevil moves through. So that's pretty good. It's kind of like Yenenga's Stallion Charge in her deck. And he's got 3 feints, which are always nice. So he's only got 22 cards in his deck, which is a little weird, but it makes sense for his cards. You're putting cards from your discard pile back into your deck. You basically can have an infinite deck if you keep using the card to let you put that same card and 4 other cards back into your deck. So you could basically have an infinite deck, and it basically negates exhaustion, or it prevents exhaustion in the game, which is very important, because it seems like with Daredevil, you want to live your opponent, I guess. You want your opponent to be exhausted first and die first, even though you only have 22 cards. But blind boosting is pretty good, unless you accidentally blind boost the card that lets you put 4 cards back into your deck. So you want to kind of play that kind of safe. But there are some interesting cards in here, and with only 22 cards, I think Daredevil's pretty dang good. Alright, so let's take a look at Bullseye. So Bullseye here, his model is, again, very nice. He has 14 health, and he moves 2. Now, he does only have 14 health, but that being said, he is ranged, which makes sense. But the interesting thing about him is that, let's say you have Bullseye here and Elektra here. He's ranged. He can shoot at Elektra from there because they're in the same zone. But he can also, if, let's say, Elektra is here, his ability is that Bullseye can attack from up to 5 spaces away, ignoring zones. So that's 1, 2, 3, not in the same zone. Doesn't matter. Bullseye can still shoot you, which is insane. That is insane for a ranged character. That makes him very good for a ranged character. But let's take a look at the cards that he has. He's got a 2 attack. I plan to be here during combat. If you started your turn in your current space, the value of this card is 5. So this is an opposite of a momentous shift, essentially, and I love the card artwork. He's got Ricochet. If the opposing fighter was not defeated, deal 1 damage to a fighter in the opposing fighter's zone. Alright. Master Strategist, move Bullseye exactly 4 spaces. Exactly 4 spaces. And he can move through opposing fighters. He's got a Tactical Retreat, 3-value defense. Place Bullseye in a space that shares no zones with his current space. That's interesting. Right between the eyes, immediately if you if you already won a combat this turn, your opponent discards 1 card. So if you played a card the first turn, as your first action, and you won the combat, you can play this for your second action as an attack. And if you won the first combat, your opponent gets to discard 1 card. He's got Study the Target, a scheme card that lets him draw 2 cards. And if you won a combat this turn, you draw an additional card and gain an action. Wow, okay. For my next trick, move Bullseye up to 1 space, draw a card, and gain an action. Wow, okay, that is a nice card to basically move, draw, and gain an action. Very, very nice. Arrogant but effective, you are considered to have won this combat. Move Bullseye up to 2 spaces. So you can see the the dichotomy with his cards, essentially. You can see how all his cards play with each other. I never miss. You may boost this attack, and if you don't boost this attack, you get to draw a card instead, which is nice, and he has 4 of those! I'm better and I'll prove it. During combat, if you already want to combat this turn, the value of this card is 6 instead. Nice, nice. World's Greatest Assassin. If you already want to combat this turn, ignore the value of your opponent's card, which could be brutal as a 4 value attack. And then he has 2 feints. Wow, I love Bullseye. He has a bunch of stuff that just can screw with your opponent. And to be honest, 14 health is not that good. It's one of the lower ends of the, I guess, health for characters in Unmatched. But he's ranged, and he can attack from up to 5 spaces away, ignoring zones, which is insane. This is a character that if you want to just screw with your opponent, you should play Bullseye. This is great. I love this stuff he has. Alright, and last but not least is Elektra. Now, this is the most interesting character, I guess, in this set, and I'll explain why. Well, first, here is her model looking very nice. She comes with 4 hand ninjas, 1 health each, with as her sidekicks. So it's like Robin Hood with his 4 outlaws that have 1 health each. So this is the second character in Unmatched to have 4 sidekicks, which is crazy. Now, she only has 7 health, which you're probably thinking, wow, she stinks. Well, no, I'll explain. She moves 2, obviously melee for both, but the first time Elektra would be defeated, you remove her and all hand from the board. She is not defeated, and at the start of your next turn, you resurrect her. Now, while she's on her regular side, when she's on her not resurrected side, you ignore effects on cards with the hand symbol, which I'll show you in a second. And then when she dies, you go to her resurrected side, which is awesome because you flip your health dial. So you flip it to Elektra resurrected, and if we go to it, now she has 9 health. So basically she has 16 health altogether. Then you shuffle your discard pile into your deck, and you place Elektra and all hand back onto the board with each fighter in a different zone. And when you're resurrected, that's when you resolve cards with the hand symbol, and she moves 2 still. Okay, that's very interesting. So she has 16 health, and you kind of want her to die, basically. She has 20 cards in her deck, also. So, first off, she has a 4 value versatile card, her Psy. She has a 3 value defense, Intercept, which does nothing, but if you're resurrected, you may reveal a card named Psy, as you can see there, from your hand, and if you do, this is a 5 instead, which is nice. A 6 value attack, Mystic Assassin. Elektra takes 3 damage, but if she is on her resurrected side, she takes no damage instead. That is an insane card. She's got her Whirlwind, which is a 2 value versatile, but when she's resurrected, you deal 1 damage to each adjacent opposing fighter, which is nice, nice. She has Mesmerize. You choose an opponent and look at their hand, and you gain an action, which is very, very nice. It's a scheme card, obviously, but if you're resurrected, you choose a card for them to discard. Cloaked in Shadow, 2 value versatile. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's cards. So that's a nice... It's essentially a feint card, but after combat, if she's resurrected, you move Elektra up to 3 spaces. Hands of Red... After combat, return a defeated hand to a space in Elektra's zone, which is a 4 value attack. She's got the Snake Root Clan 1 value defense, but you immediately swap spaces with a hand ninja, and if she does, that hand is now the defender. And the hand actually has cards in the deck to use. For example, the Fist, you may deal 1 damage to your attacking fighter. If you do, you return this card to your hand and gain an action. So that's pretty nice. And Ninjutsu, which is an any card, place your fighter in any space. So there's only 4 cards in the deck that the hand can use, which is interesting. But again, only 20 cards. But technically she's got 40 cards, because if you go through the entire deck once, let's say, and you exhaust yourself to death, literally, and you resurrect, you shuffle the 20 cards back into a deck. So you have essentially 40 cards in your deck, which is nuts. Again, only 16 health, which isn't bad by any means, but I think that this is a game changer, like Bullseye. Bullseye's ability is a game changer, Elektra's ability is a game changer, and the interesting thing is that you have 4 hand ninjas that can't really do much because they have only 4 cards in the deck that they can use. But like I said, only 20 cards in the deck, so you'll probably find them really easy. But that's Elektra. Alright, so that is the Hell's Kitchen Unmatched box. Wow. Do I like this more than Redemption Row? I don't know. I really like the characters in Redemption Row, and I really like the characters in the Hell's Kitchen box. What do I like better? That is a very, very hard question. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I want to know what box you guys think is better, Redemption Row or Hell's Kitchen. Let me know down in the comments. But Bullseye is just ridiculous. He's probably my favorite character in this box. Daredevil is pretty interesting, and Elektra's ability is just weird, and it makes sense for her character as well. I like this box. And the tokens in this box are great as well. It adds a whole new level of stuff to this game, basically. It's a great addition. I can't wait for the other Marvel boxes that come out. I hope, or I assume, actually, that those boxes will also have the Battlefield tokens as well on the board, which is exciting to see what else they can come up with, what other scheme tokens they could come up with. So, that is it, guys. The algorithm says to check out this video right here. Let me know what you think about Hell's Kitchen as well. The algorithm says that you got to check out this video here, and also subscribe if you haven't already for more Unmatched videos, and check out the Patreon as well if you want to support us. See you in the next one.